just €1. Plus, you save even more with our €10 off every 50 grocery voucher. So for healthy eating and great value, save with Everyday Savers from Dunnes Stores. Always better value. See online for terms and conditions. Minimum spend required.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
And you're welcome back. We're 12 minutes away from kick-off between Southampton and Crystal Palace, and Bournemouth and Chelsea, and a little bit later on it's Liverpool against Leicester and Tottenham against Watford. They're both 8 o'clock kick-offs. Mark Lawrenson is on the line now. Mark, obviously a little bit more hopeful that Liverpool win the league than Kevin Kilbane, but Kevin Kilbane more or less suggesting, Mark, that it's all over.
Wow, he's gone from blue, he's almost turning red. What's the matter with him?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of mind games going on.
Yeah.
Can they handle it? That's what it is, Mark.
Well, that's the thing, Kevin. I mean, it's always, I think, everyone recognises that it's easier chasing a team rather than obviously being chased. And I think the thing with Liverpool is, generally, they've really got through games quite easily. Okay, last weekend, Crystal Palace, or weekend before, was a little bit difficult. But to be honest with you, everyone's saying, oh, you know, where will he lose points? Where, and all those kind of things. You just don't really know. I mean, do you think City would have lost at home to Crystal Palace? No. Do you think they lost last night? Absolutely not. Have they lost 3 out of the last 5 in terms of away games in the league? I think so. You just really don't know. So we're all a little bit kind of, I mean, last night's results for Liverpool were absolutely fantastic. And they just really have to do the business tonight. And it doesn't really matter anymore at this stage of the season how you play. It's just about winning games.
Yeah, just last night's game, were you as gobsmacked as we were? Newcastle hung on in there, but I mean, with the concession of the goal, it just, who could believe what actually transpired in the second half?
Yeah, it was a little bit because they scored so early, City. I think they kind of thought, well, this is going to be easy. We know about Rafa's teams. They're very well organised, as we know as well. And you know, once they got the first goal back, got the crowd behind them a little bit, City started to get a little bit desperate. That's the first time for me in a long time that Manchester City have looked average over the 90 plus minutes. Even when Crystal Palace beat them at home, they still had lots of chances and played some decent football. But worrying thing, well, 2 worrying things for Guardiola last night. They lost the game, but really they just seem to have lost their mojo completely.
They did, Kev, didn't they? There was just like, as you said, it was embodied in Guardiola maybe on the touchline when De Bruyne has flirted with a red card. He seemed to be panicking. He was like, oh, I think actually it was the assistant, the ex-Arsenal player, who just like tapped him, and he's like, oh, whoa, we could be in trouble here. He could be sent off.
Arteta.
But Kev, it was the second half. I mean, they never really looked like scoring when it was 2-1 either, which I thought was
lifeless. I don't think they looked like scoring after they got the first goal. Got a bit of luck, really. Because it was the only real time in the game. If you watch it back, obviously 25 seconds into the game, Newcastle punted the ball forward and sent bodies forward for the long ball, and City immediately got the ball and broke, and that's what just left them a bit exposed. They never got themselves in that position again across the course of the game. There's a couple of strikes from distance. Newcastle, of course, didn't look like they were going to score themselves, but City, I don't think I've seen them as lax in possession, as slow, as lethargic. De Bruyne was as bad as I've seen him. 2 fullbacks, Danilo and Kyle Walker, were really poor. Laporte was really poor, I thought. And the 2 wide lads didn't really create an awful lot, Sterling and Sané. And it was put it down to one of those nights. But when you're in these type of situations, Laura's talked about holding your nerve, and it was a chance for City to put pressure on Liverpool, and they hadn't done it in recent weeks. It's a massive result.
What did you make of it, Mark?
Just the same, to be honest with you. It's just that they never really got firing, which is really unusual for them because they've got such a fantastic, I was going to say starting them, they've got such a fantastic squad that there's normally somebody who will ignite them. Somebody who's absolutely brilliant on the night, and it just wasn't the case. Fullbacks I thought were extremely ordinary as well, didn't really help out. But they've been a little bit iffy, haven't they, Manchester City? And we know they beat Burton easy, we know they beat Rotherham easy all in the cup, and we know they beat Burnley as well. But in the league, you know, if you look at the form, it just hasn't been great. And it really, they're playing for me like a team who were like 4 points clear of Liverpool rather than the other way around. And they're thinking, oh my God, what are Liverpool going to do? What are Liverpool going to do? Rather than the team that's actually trying to chase them.
Liverpool's team tonight, Mark, I'll just go through the side for you. Alisson in goal. It's a back four. It looks like Wijnaldum, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson. It looks like they'll have two sitters of Henderson and Naby Keita.
Yeah.
Attacking three behind Salah that plays up front of Firmino, Mane and Shaqiri. Do you see any problems for Liverpool tonight with that side that they've put out up against Leicester?
I don't see any problems with the ball, Kev. They've got, obviously they've been 4-2-3-1 for a while now. Shaqiri's coming in, done really well. So I think they've got kind of four players trying to win you the game every single week, which is obviously good. I think they do worry about Vardy. Obviously, that's a problem for them. Van Dijk, I think he's had a bit of flu, has he not?
Yeah.
Interesting to see what he's like. And presumably it would be Gray against Wijnaldum. Now, the manager, Klopp, absolutely loves Wijnaldum, loves him to death as much as any other player, because everything he asks Wijnaldum to do, he does. He's like a Duracell bunny. He never, ever stops from first minute to 95th. He's not really an outstanding player. He's just an outstanding athlete. But in the way that they play, he's one of the key members. And so just looking at the team, it's actually very, very attacking. We know Robertson will pile forward. Matip's done okay since he came back in. But, they've got a goalkeeper who's outstanding. We know about Van Dijk has been absolutely brilliant. A lot will really depend on Leicester. I thought Crystal Palace played really well against Liverpool when they had a chance to get forward. They got forward in numbers, and then they sat back and were organised defensively. I don't think Leicester City are as organised as Crystal Palace, and I think it's one of them for me. If Liverpool score the first goal and score it early, I think they might win comfortably.
Just the only thing about that Palace game, though, Mark, I know Milner was playing that night right back and Zaha gave him a bit of a roasting, but they did not look comfortable defensively at all, I thought.
Well, they weren't. They conceded 3 goals, which is most unusual, but if you ask everybody throughout the course of the season what's been the strength, it has been their defence. But, that it really doesn't matter that, because we had that sometimes in games where you just get an odd thing like a 4-3. We just wrote it off. It was like, well, it's gone. You could never get the points back, even though, obviously we won them on those occasions. And if anything, it's just a little bit of a kick up your backside, thinking, come on, boys, we're a little bit slack. But I think with Liverpool, I really don't think that will bother them. That was the Saturday before last, wasn't it? I think Klopp took them that night away to Dubai, hardly did any training. It was a little bit of a kind of R&R thing, and then came back. They've had about 5 full days training, and apparently he's just been reminding them of everything he reminded them at the start of the season. So it looks very much as though he seems like this is almost like a mini-league from now on. They're obviously not in the Carabao, they're not in the FA Cup. They've got obviously buying home and away in the Champions League. While he plays it down, I think he realises that this has been his best chance by far to win the league with Liverpool since he took over the job.
Just the symmetry as well of the result last night being, masterminded by Rafa Benitez. I mean, that's not an irony that's lost on... what can you say about the job he's done? And, I mean, that was a hopeless position for maybe 99 clubs out of 100 last night. And he just, Newcastle kept their shape and they stayed in the game.
That's what he does. And I think Mike Ashley bought him a present today, hasn't he, for 21 million or whatever it is. It'll always be that way with Mike Ashley and Newcastle, and I think occasionally, obviously, Rafa sort of indirectly threatens to resign, but I don't think he'll ever do that. I think he quite likes the fact that actually he has ultimate power at that football club, apart from being able to spend the money. So from that point of view, he is a very, very good manager. I think, in part at Liverpool, he just had a spell, where I think he thought he was a little bit bigger than the club, and he made some strange decisions, which eventually, obviously, he lost his job. But if you ever go to a game when he comes back as manager of whatever team it may be, as the visitors, he gets an absolutely fantastic ovation, because, probably as much as anything because of that Champions League win. Also,
he plays the media a bit, Rafa. He's no fool, but from people I've spoken to that have spoken to Rafa, apparently he's just an extremely normal, humble bloke who just loves talking about football.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, he's not even the boss in his own house. I mean, his missus and the 2 kids.
Who is, Mark? That's the thing.
Well, that's true. He comes number 4. You know, his wife, she's a lawyer, she's a Spanish lady, she's a lawyer, massive into the golf. They live on the Wirral. They haven't moved up. She just said to Rafa, Rafa, look, you go and do what you want to do. We're not moving anymore. I'm not moving the kids and stuff. But you know, it obviously works. And the great thing for him, as far as he's concerned with that, is if he wants to be 24 hours a day at the football club, he can be 24 hours a day at the football club. But you know what? He absolutely lives for football and loves football. And Steven Gerrard, sorry to name drop a little bit, Steven Gerrard told me a story that when Rafa was at Liverpool and Gerrard was in his pomp, it was they played at home on a Saturday, they'd won Liverpool, and it was International Week. And Rafa said to Stevie G, he said, can you just come in the office for 2 minutes? I've got something for you. So Stephen went down there thinking, I don't know what on earth this is. And when he got down there, Rafa gave him a DVD. And Rafa said, just have a little look at that on your laptop when you're away. So, okay, so when he went away with England, Stevie, he put it on. Do you know what it was? It was all the mistakes he'd made throughout the season so far. So it was like, everyone thinks you're like a superpower and you're a wonder player, which he was. He said, but you can get better because you made these mistakes. Typical Rafa Benitez.
It seems like it's not in keeping as well, the way with Benitez, the way he goes about it. Not in keeping with modern day coaching, the way that maybe a modern day coach is programmed to go about things. I said it earlier on. By all accounts, he's incredibly harsh on the players. And you were asking before. Johnny asked a question before to me. How does he continue to get these results, particularly at a club that there's so much negativity around it with Newcastle? They're desperate to get the owners out. They don't want him at the club. They feel as though the club's going nowhere under that ownership. Yet Benitez sits in there and continues to get these amazing results. And it looks like, again, he'll probably keep them in the league again.
Yeah, well, I think he will. I don't think there's any doubt about that. You know, even regardless of last night's result. I think he's very, very clever, though, Rafa. Extremely clever. You remember when he came out with the A4 piece of paper having a go at Fergie? He's not worried about stuff like that. But also, you know, he understands and realises that the club understand, the supporters understand and realise the difficult job that he's got, and he plays them in a nice way, as you would do. And as I said to you, I think Kev generally, you know, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, he runs the football club. His only real issue is the fact that, you know, he keeps asking for money, and instead of the club saying, look, here's 50 million, go and spend it. I think they have to know every in and out of every single deal, and it's as if they don't really trust him. Now, that's a really strange thing when you think about it, because whatever you think about Mike Ashley, he's a very, very, very good businessman. So you know, in a football club like the Premier League, if you stand still, you go backwards. We all know that. And why wouldn't you trust Benitez anyway in the transfer window? And why wouldn't you say to him, look, there's your budget, right? You can spend X, whatever it is. And by the way, if you sell some players, you can actually spend the money from the players that you sell. So it gives you a chance to really build your own team, but not just for the here and now, but maybe for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months in advance. So he's having to play with all those. I mean, he's just constantly and consistently juggling plates, isn't he?
The main reason we actually got you on, Mark, was for your knowledge of the Oscars and your love of the flicks. And I think it was around this time last year we had you on, and you gave a very erudite appraisal of what might happen in the Oscars. What do you like this year?
I went to see last week? I went to see Favourite.
I saw it myself.
I tell you, what about the language?
Yeah, and there were a lot of unexpected lesbian scenes as well.
Oh yeah, they were all right.
Yeah, they were, but in fairness, yeah, well, I suppose yeah, but you know, I think it's a Greek director. I'd seen Lobster, which I absolutely hated with a passion, and I'd like to think sometimes you watch these movies and you come out of them, you think, I'm just not intelligent enough to know what was
Laurel, do you actually pay when you go to the cinema?
Of course I do, but listen.
Do you? Honestly, I've never seen him buy anything. I've never seen him pay for a thing, honestly.
Behave yourself. Your nose must be glowing, you saying that. And the other thing is, the best, I'm just going to say, the best film I've seen last year, because it's 2019, is the Lady Gaga Bradley Cooper one.
What's that? Star is Born? I've not seen that yet, actually.
Oh my God, I was almost crying, Kev.
Were you?
Yeah. It was.
Honestly.
It must take something as well for Laura to cry. That's got to be something special.
Wow.
That's a glowing endorsement.
You weren't averse to the overtly lesbian sexual scenes in The Favourite either.
No, Johnny, that would be fair to say.
On to the break.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Mark.
Pleasure.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by Boyle Sports. Now with same-day withdrawals to your Visa debit card.
Funny how small things matter most. Imagine if all 10 million cups of tea we drink in Ireland every day were powered by 100% green energy and not by burning fossil fuels. And imagine if all our dishwashers, hairdryers and TVs were powered by green energy too. Isn't that a future worth acting on?